You're just too good to be true. So click that subscribe button so that I don't have to sing the rest of that song to you. I'm John Stark from ActorMovieGuy.com, and we are going to talk about Jersey Boys. Might seem random, but I like to do random films here, and I'm totally honest with you. This is a banked movie review, meaning I saved this for a rainy day when I didn't have time, and I can still release a movie review. It currently is on HBO Max as of the time that I'm watching and reviewing it. But I don't know that it still will be because I don't know when I'm going to release this review. Probably this year, so there's a good shot that it's still on Max. But it has audio description right now. Oddly enough, British audio description, which is kind of hilarious for a film that's somewhat, I would say, mafia-esque at times. It's very, very Jersey. So it's very interesting to hear somebody who sounds like they come from the other Jersey narrating. Anyway, yeah, I wonder why. I would love to know why Max chooses the British audio description track to go with. I mean, it's fine. I'll listen to it. Audio description is audio description. I'd rather have it than not have it. But I think it's funny because I'm sure there's an American theatrical version of this. It's not that old. It was 2014, and it was released for old people. So let's be honest. Like, who loved Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons? Anyway, so yes, this is a film adaptation of the stage musical. I know what you're thinking, and you're like, wait a minute, this happened? It did kind of happen. They kind of released this in the middle of the summer, and they were kind of hoping that people would just go, because there was a Jersey Boys phenomenon there for a while. Jersey Boys was everywhere. It was really hot on Broadway. There was a tour. It actually had its own version was running in Vegas. It actually had a production that was running in Vegas. And I believe there were international versions, and everybody was just gaga for the Jersey Boys. Unfortunately, this kind of came at the tail end of that when the shows started closing. Eastwood was able to assemble his little spring, summer, winter, fall. I got that out of order, but I'm going to make that joke again, and I'll get it right again. He was able to assemble them by pulling from all of the various productions, all the people who had played in the casts, and looking at all these people who had done things and been like, which one of these guys is gonna make my day? That he directed this film. It's such an odd film for Eastwood to want to direct. I don't feel like this is his life. I don't feel like this is his story. I mean, I guess he loves Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, maybe, and his director prowess. This film is just, I don't know. I think the Jersey Boys musical is a little bit more upbeat and optimistic than this. This one kind of starts more serious and dramatic and like Eastwood was trying to direct Oscar bait, thinking like, I will get my Oscar nomination for this. They will make my day. And so I think it feels really oddly formulaic, and it feels like it has a lot to tell, and it doesn't really know where to start or where to end. And it crams it all into 2 hours and 15 minutes. By the way, I felt the runtime at 2 hours and 15 minutes. It takes a while for the music to get going, like when you actually hear the singing, and it's like, I came here for singing, which is so weird because most musical adaptations, when you adapt them, they still follow like the structure of the songs. Here it kind of feels like Eastwood is just taking the songs that were in Jersey Boys, co-opting them and putting them into places when he needs them. that make better sense based on the timeline of the movie that he's doing, less so that he's concerned with making a faithful adaptation of the stage musical. I question whether or not he even actually saw the stage musical. I quit. I don't know if, I don't know if that was a thing for him, but it just kind of feels like he put this together, because it feels like it takes a while for, just like we wait for in other biopics that are not based on stage musicals, we wait for the moment when, the singers get into the recording studio and then they get to finally start making their pieces. But sometimes it's a little bit of a long road, and we have to see that long road first, where everybody keeps telling them no, And I don't think that worked in this movie's favor. I think by withholding the music and making us see this entire front story about how these guys were on their way to working for the mafia, but they were just walking around and they were like, guys, Frankie's voice is just something special. We gotta protect it. And then everybody's agreeing. They're all like, yes, he's a hell of a singer. We just he goes to court and they're like, and the defense is like, this kid can sing, and the judge is like, what? He can? There's so many times where Frankie's voice is brought up and people are like, wow, I've never heard somebody who could sing before. Man, I'll give him a pass today. You're lucky. You're lucky you can sing. It's just, I don't know. There's so many odd choices that Eastwood makes with this film that I don't know that he needed to make. I'm like, where's the guy that directed $1 Million Baby? Where is that guy that seemed to really understand all of the emotional moments in that film and then landed that punch at the end? Where is that guy? Why does he not understand what he's directing here? It just doesn't make it. It just didn't come together for me. I didn't really enjoy the performances that much. I think when you take people out of the Broadway show who are used to being in somewhat lighter material, I'll go with that. I mean, they're used to being in a lighter show. The musical version is not as heavy as some of the scenes that they're asked to do here. And when you put them in this, then it kind of is stretching them a little bit thin. Also, the decision to go with almost an entirely unknown cast, except for Christopher Walken, is bizarre, but okay. Because then every time Christopher Walken's on screen, you're like, oh my god, it's Christopher Walken. He almost has a reverse effect. It's either everyone's an unknown or you have stars. It's so bizarre to me that Christopher Walken was the one person where Eastwood was like, yeah, I don't need anybody. I don't need any major stars. But I have to have Christopher Walken. Because he's got that voice that's so instantly recognizable that first scene he's in a barbershop and he speaks and I'm like, it's Christopher Walken. I don't even need IMDb. I'm just I know exactly who that is. Yeah, it's just that easy. There are plot choices. There was one point in the film, it's kind of spoilery, but again, these are based on real lives of people. So there's a little bit of a thing that I just feel like Eastwood didn't handle very well, and I ended up laughing, and it's not a scene where you laugh, and I'm like, it's when Frankie goes and visits Francesca, and he's he just sees her, and then the next scene is him. And everything's fine, and she's like, she's like, yeah, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'll do fine on my own, I've got this, Next scene, dead, and I'm like, what the hell? what just happened? What is? He just had lunch with her. Would he be like walk out? Or did she like get hit by traffic? Like it was the jump was so. I mean, even the scene in which they tell Frankie there really is not a whole lot of setup. It's not like he's sitting there and he's doing some things and like the scene kind of plays out and then towards the end of the scene somebody comes in and they're like, Frankie, I got some news, man. I'm really sorry. Like he's not having. It's not like the scene serves another purpose where he's like he's like celebrating a triumph, and then at the end of it comes this like right hook, like, oh damn. No, it's just like he sees her, and then like next scene, Clint is like, I don't know what to do. I can't put anything else in between here, but I have to move on, and I have to, and then we have to go to her funeral, and the whole part of this film has to be about this. And it just kind of feels like it snowballs really quickly at this point. And it's hitting point in a way where the rest of the film is kind of meandered. It feels like he's checking, he's got a checklist, and he's like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. And it hits so rapidly all of a sudden that I don't know, it was very, very odd pacing for me, like all of a sudden. Anyway, not a big fan of this. I love the music, but these guys are not Frankie Valli. That's, sometimes that's the rub, right? What do we like out of biopics? We like to talk about how somebody truly just immersed themselves and became the role. And it's more impressive when it's somebody that we know and we're familiar with. And then that way we can be like, oh my God, I had no idea that so-and-so had that in them, Unfortunately, it's less impressive when we don't know the person and then they come in, because then they really have to be a dead ringer. It has to be like the Austin Butler and Elvis thing. It really just has to be somebody that is rather unknown, that it just feels like the second coming of this person. And I don't know that happened for these summer, winter, spring, and fall people. And I'm still mixing up the seasons. And yes, so I think that works against it in the end, is that there's no wow factor in terms of transformation, because we don't really know what they're transforming from. But I do know that their voices fall short of the 4 seasons. I'm sorry. It's really impressive. I mean, I couldn't sustain that up there in that falsetto. There's no way. But I don't know if those were are those the closest voices out of everybody who's been in Jersey Boys? Was that the best? Yeah, anyway. The difference is, what it misses is it's the magic, right? Frankie Valli opened his mouth and sang. It was Frankie Valli, and that's what made him special. This guy opens his voice, and he tries to sound like Frankie Valli, and that's what makes him special. It's not him opening his voice, and he sounds like a dead ringer for Frankie Valli. It's not like they discovered him off the street, and they were like, oh my God, you sound just like Frankie Valli. It's a little bit different, and perhaps if we had found someone a little bit more well-known in the role, we might have been able to talk about their transformation. The acting that they throw at these guys may have resonated more, something. This didn't do very well, didn't really do anything at the box office, didn't get, wasn't Oscar bait or anything. Something's missing. I'm not the only one here that believes this. So, anyway, the audio description is British, but fine. It's so weird. It's like, this movie feels like, for the first third, like a mafia movie. And it's so weird to hear a British person describing a mafia movie where everybody is walking around with those, like, hey! Like, just the accents, right? It's kind of just like two things that don't mix. It's like oil and water. Very proper audio description with these guys who are like, hey, what you doing up in, I don't know. I don't know. And also, just in general, because of a lot that's going on, it kind of disappears for long periods of time because there's either a lot of talking or the singing or whatever just kind of comes in. Sometimes we miss transitions. It mostly does a pretty good job. It's just the average. I would call it like average description. I'm not gonna like run around town and I don't know that there's much that it could do except to talk through the songs. But I promise you, half the people watching this film are watching this for the songs. They would prefer for you to talk over the dialogue. You know? They're like, stop. I want to hear Sherry, and if you narrate during Sherry, I will kill you. You know? I need to hear this song. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it for spring, summer, fall, and winter. And I'm going to give them a grade now. I'm going to give Jersey Boys a C. It's got some stuff going on. I was interested to know more about their lives. That's always a plus with biopics, is I feel like I've learned something, even though it's always going to be based on a true story. That's always going to be the parts that they find to be interesting. I still didn't really know much about them, so kudos. I don't think it's one of the stronger Clint Eastwood directed films, and I think there's a reason why these actors never broke out after that. I think there's a reason why the Four Seasons, the actors who play the Four Seasons, are not massive stars. Although, even in bigger musicals, sometimes the people that they pick out of thin air don't go on to be bigger stars, like Nikki Blonsky from Hairspray. So it doesn't always equate to Jennifer Hudson style success. But that's Jersey Boys. It's on Max. You can check it out if you want. And you can also click subscribe because I love you. And I have a website, magthemovieguy.com. You can follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I feel like that's one of those names where they're going to go back. It's just not going to work out. So I don't want to know. I don't want to just keep saying X because I feel like they're going to switch. Threads, and you can follow me on Insta, all at Mac the Movie Guy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who is narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me today. And I will watch something else and review it and see you guys on the other side.